Hello, welcome back to What's Cooking CGH. I'm Sherry with the CGH Health Foundation, and I'm here to share another easy, healthy recipe for you. So it's a Christmas season, and we're all wanting sweet treats, but we probably should not eat as much sugar as we want to eat. And we can have some healthier treats and still get that sweet fix that we need, but do it with a lot less sugar and things like that. So today I have a confession to make, and the confession is about dates. It has nothing to do with my love life. It has to do with dates, right? And my confession is that I never even tried one of these things until probably 5 or 6 years ago. I know growing up that people make cookies out of them, like date pinwheels are very popular, etc. But I just never was very interested. And a few years ago, when I started trying to take processed sugars out of my diet, I tried one of these, and oh my gosh, I'm hooked. They are so sweet. So if you've never tried a date, I really do suggest that you go out and buy some. They're just like candy. But just like candy, you can't eat a whole lot of them. They do have quite a few calories, but those calories come with some very beneficial ingredients or substances. The recipe I'm going to show you today is for an energy bite that combines dates with chocolate and walnuts. And then just a little bit of vanilla and some salt, and that's it. But when you put those all together, you get a really, really, really decadent treat. The dates that I'm using are medjool dates, and so this is what I'm able to buy in my local grocery store. These are the organic ones. The packages can be red or green. This one's clear. And the different colored packages for this brand indicate whether it has pits or not. So you want to look for a pitted date that doesn't have the pits in them. If you do get dates with pits, you just have to make sure you take the pits out before you use them for anything. The reason I'm using a medjool date is that these are dried, but they're not dehydrated. So they're still really moist. And when you bite into one, it might remind you of caramel, that kind of a flavor. So I like the medjool dates. There are a couple of other varieties that you might find in the store. Deglet Noir or Noir is one. I tend to find those to be drier and harder. So I'm using the medjool dates. So these are the ones that I recommend. So like I said, I can buy these in my local grocery store. If you're an Amazon shopper, this is a brand that I tried recently, and oh my gosh, I think these are the best I've ever had. I have a dream to someday go out to California and visit the date people, and there's a ranch there that you can go and they sell dates, and you can see how they're grown and everything. So this recipe is really, really simple, just a few ingredients. It starts out with walnuts. So I have a cup of walnuts here. These are just halves and pieces. I'm going to go ahead and throw those into my food processor. And then next come the dates. So I have a little over half a cup. So this is maybe 6 to 8 large dates. And you really don't have to do anything to them, but I'm going to kind of cut them in half because I think sometimes if you're using the food processor, it works a little better if things are similar sizes so that you get an even blend on it. Another thing I want to point out is that some of the dates on the end are going to have a bit of the stem left. None of these have it. But if you find that, you probably want to pull it off because it's hard and it's going to be crunchy in the product. So I'm going to take my dates and just kind of chop them in half and throw them into the food processor. Okay, so we have the dates in there. The last ingredient is going to be the chocolate. Now you could use chocolate chips for this, but I like to use a chocolate bar. This is the one that I am using. And we want just about a cup of chocolate. So that would be a 1/3 cup of chocolate chips. For this, it was about half of this 3.5 ounce bar. I like to use a bar chocolate because chocolate chips sometimes have other ingredients added to them, like waxy kinds of things that I don't really necessarily want to have in my chocolate. The other thing is that I'm going to use a dark chocolate. So here's the thing. I know that there are milk chocolate lovers out there, but I am not one of them. I prefer really dark chocolate. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Is that the darker the chocolate, the less sugar there is, okay? And if you think you're a chocolate lover, but all you eat is milk chocolate, you should try this experiment sometime. So get like a milk chocolate morsel or a little piece of milk chocolate, and then find the highest percentage of chocolate that you can, or even an unsweetened chocolate. Take a bite of each, and then let me know if you are a chocolate lover or if you just like sugar. Because once you get the real thing, milk chocolate just kind of tastes like sugar to me. It doesn't even taste like chocolate. So milk chocolate's for sissies as far as I'm concerned. You could go even darker. This is 70%. I think you have to give upward of 60 or 65% for it to be considered dark. And you can buy bars that are 80%, 85, 90%. There's plenty of sweetness in here from the dates, so don't be afraid to go super dark on your chocolate. So again, about half of this size chocolate bar, that was a 3.5 ounce bar, and I'm just going to kind of chop it into shreds. Go one way and then the other way. I want it small enough that it's going to blend in there. Okay. I use my little bench scraper here to kind of toss everything into the food processor. And that is all you do for now. I'm going to put the lid on the food processor. And we're going to pulse it. You want to pulse it rather than blend it, because you want to keep an eye on it. We'll get started here. And again, you probably don't want to listen to the food processor or watch this, so we might speed it up a little bit and play some music or something like that. But I'm going to just pulse my product until I get it to where I want it here. Okay, we're there. So let me show you. We have everything pulsed. I got it off there so I can reach in and grab a bit. It looks kind of like real fine gravel or coarse sand, if you can see that. That's getting about where we want it. We'll put it back on there. One or two pulses more. So that's where you want it to be for now, is at that kind of coarse sand or real fine gravel kind of stage. Only 2 more ingredients, and those would be vanilla. So I'm going to add a whole teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And a little bit of salt, not much. Just a sprinkle or 2 in there. Another thing that we might want to add is maybe a teaspoon of water. Let me go ahead and get the water in there. Okay. Lid back on. Music, please. We're back. Okay, so what has happened with that little bit of moisture and a little bit more is that you can see it's starting to kind of clump together. And that only takes maybe half a dozen more pulses after you put the vanilla and the water in. I'm going to transfer it to this bowl right here, just so it's a little easier to see. Okay. And now I'm going to use my cookie scoop. You could use a teaspoon if you wanted to. My hands are really clean. I washed them. And what we're going to do is take the cookie scoop and pack it. And then there's plenty of moisture. They hold together. Oh, not that one. There we go. Right into a little ball like that. Okay. So here's a really good chance to do a lesson about calorie density and nutrient density. So things like dried fruits and nuts and dark chocolate even have some really healthy compounds in there. The dates themselves are a great source of minerals like magnesium, and they have some calcium. They have a little bit of iron. The walnuts, again, have fiber, and they have healthy fats. Even the chocolate, if you get a really dark chocolate, it's got a little bit of fiber, it's got a little bit of iron, got a little bit of calcium. So those are all great things, but those foods are also very high in calories. So calorie dense just means that, a lot of calories per weight of the food, and these would be a calorie dense item, but they're also nutrient dense, meaning that, and that doesn't matter if it has a lot of calories or not. So for the example of, say, spinach. Spinach is not very calorie dense. I mean, a whole big tub has about 100 calories, but very nutrient dense. These, on the other hand, are both calorie dense and nutrient dense. And then there are things that are just very calorie dense and not very nutritious. And that's where you would be getting into things like refined sugar, oil, etc. So they have a lot of calories, but they don't necessarily have anything that's good for us. So that's calorie dense versus nutrient dense. So that is the chocolate, date, and walnut energy bite. They are really, really good. I can almost tell you. I've had these several times before, and I love them. You don't want to make them when you're alone in the house. So my coworkers are going to be really happy with me tomorrow. If you don't have a food processor like I do, there's another really easy way that you can do something similar like this and get the same flavors. And that is just to take your dates and make a really simple stuffed date. And so what you would do is you take your date and just cut it down one side lengthways like that, right? And open it up. There's a cavity inside where the pit was. And I like to take a couple of almonds and tuck them inside that cavity. And then you can press the date back together. And right here I have some melted chocolate. So I took a little bit of that chocolate bar, about a third of a cup, and that would be good for 10 or 12 dates because you're going to roll them around in there. I added about a teaspoon of a real neutral flavored oil. I think I used corn oil, but you could use vegetable oil or you could use canola oil. And I microwaved it for 30 seconds, gave it a stir, microwaved it another 30 seconds and stirred it. And I think I had to do another 15 seconds. Don't want to overdo it. You just want to get the chocolate melted just so there aren't any chunks in it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drop that date in there, kind of roll it around a little bit. Lift it out. You want to be using a fork here. Lift it out with your fork and give it some taps. Tap, 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 tap. And then I should have some wax paper down here. I don't, but just put it down. Put those in the refrigerator to set up. And that is another really easy, healthy snack that's still just a little bit decadent, a little bit sweet. So I hope you enjoyed today's recipes and that you'll give these chocolate dates and walnut energy balls a try. And you can find all of our videos at the CGH website under our YouTube channel. And happy holidays to you, and we'll see you next time.